Hello anybody watching, my name is Dylan and I like to build houses in The Sims 4. Today I am building the apartment that you see in the TV show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. You can see that, watch that TV show on, I believe it's Amazon Video or Amazon something. Amazon rules the world, so Amazon Video I believe it is. This is the apartment that Miriam Maisel and her parents Abe and Rose live in. I don't want to give too much away, but they live in here for a while. And then her children live here as well. This apartment is actually based on a real apartment in New York City on the Upper West Side. I think it's called the Strathmore or Stratmore or something like that. Very expensive apartment on the West Side, on the Upper West Side in New York City. I think in late 50s to early 60s money, it's roughly $400,000 US, and now I think in today's money, this apartment is worth like anywhere from like $4 to $9 million, which I know is a huge difference, but I can't remember exactly what the price is, but it's just a lot of money. And I can't even imagine, being in one of these apartments, much less actually living in one, even in the 1950s and 60s, but definitely not today. I just think there's so much floor space in this apartment. It is based on a real one, like I said, so that I actually was able to find a floor plan of this apartment, which worked out really, really well. The floor plan in this apartment, I was mostly able to get it to work in The Sims 4. The only difference was I did have to change the placement of some of the walls in the living room, unfortunately. With the restricted lot placement, on top of a penthouse in San Myshuno, I had to make a couple of, changes, take a couple creative liberties, and change the shape of it a little bit. And I really did not want to have to do that. I really worked hard to not do that, but there was just no way that I could get this place to fit. Because when you have an apartment that has 5 possible bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, you need a lot of space. So I did what I had to do. 2 of these rooms here are displayed as a different type of room other than a bedroom, but if you wanted to put a bed in them, you definitely could. So when I say 5 bedrooms, I don't mean that all 5 rooms are laid out like a bedroom is. One of them is like a second office or a second study area, and then one of them is considered like a dressing room, and that actually is in the floor plan of this apartment. It says, the room next to Abe and Rose's room is a quote-unquote dressing room, but it does have its own door, so I think you could use this as a bedroom if you wanted to, because as of right now in The Sims 4, this room kind of doesn't really have a use. I do try to put like a bookshelf or something in all rooms so they at least have a purpose, but with that dressing room, there's not really much of a purpose for it because all the bedrooms already have dressers in them, and then the only thing that's in that dressing room is another more dressers. So it is what it is. I used Get Famous and the base game and City Living. Those are the only packs I used for this place, which is really nice. I actually built this house once a couple days ago actually. And I was happy with the result, but then after like a day or two, I realized like this isn't quite right. This draft of this apartment doesn't quite look like how I want it to look. So I ended up building it again, and this is the footage that I built again. You can see there I'm trying to put something there on the roof, and it didn't quite work. So I cut out that footage because it was really making me mad. But anyway, this is the second time that I built this apartment, and the first time it looked okay. It was almost there. In that apartment, I tried to just use City Living and the base game, and it was okay. But then I decided, I'll use one more pack and make this place look a little bit better. And so I built it again, and I'm glad I did, because the first one, the floor plan was not as accurate as this one is. Not that this one is 100% accurate by any means, I've already said that, but the first one that I did was even more of a change. I took even more creative liberties, and then I decided to go back and redo it, and like I said, I'm glad that I did. So here I'm finally starting to furnish the apartment. Furnishing takes the longest. I think even just in this room it took me like 45 minutes or maybe even an hour to just get this room correct. And the reason for that is because if you look at screenshots or if you watch the show, you will see that the furniture in this house changes wildly, pretty much based on the episode or the season or anything like that. The only thing that I can see that stays about the same, is the placement of the dining table there and where the red couches are. Other than that, you see things change all the time. Like the Maisel family seems to be very into feng shui or something. Like they seem to change things all the time, and I think that kind of plays well into the fast moving nature of this show, or it moves at a relatively fast pace, and so I guess it's not that surprising to see the furniture change a lot and things get moved around a lot. I think it just kind of adds to the whimsicalness of the show. I was talking with a friend of mine about this show, and I'm like, this show kind of moves at like a dream pace, like an actual dream. It feels like you're like watching like almost like a fever dream. That things just happen so fast sometimes in this show. But I really do like it. I just finally finished season 3. I think season 3 came out in early December 2019, and I finally finished the show just a couple of days ago, which is what made me want to make this apartment. And I like season 3. I think season 3 is the weakest out of the 3 seasons, and I'm not going to do any spoilers, but it's not bad by any means. Things do happen in this season that are not necessarily unbelievable or anything. It just wasn't quite, to me, up to snuff of what the first 2 seasons were, and that's only because I think the first 2 seasons the bar was already super high. But I am excited to see a season 4 and see what happens to Midge and her comedy career in season 4. But like I said, it's the stuff. What I was getting on is the stuff in this house. The furniture changes a lot, but there was a couple things that I was able to get right, like the desk at the angle there in the corner. Those red couches are almost a perfect fit. But there are some things that I did decide just to put in, just to fill the space, because this space is actually really big. I'm not sure if it actually is supposed to be this big, but in order to make the floor plan as close as I could, this living room, dining room area had to be kind of big, and so it was a little bit difficult to fill the space, especially because I was only using a couple of expansions. But also, there's not that much for Sims to do in The Sims 4, so I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to do to fill this huge amount of space. Luckily, you have pictures to look at, but a lot of times the pictures of this place is online. The pictures of this place, they're very close up pictures, if that makes sense. So it was kind of hard to remember where everything was, because you'd think, oh, I'm just gonna look at a picture, but all the pictures were cropped photos with some cast members in them, and it's hard to see what was going on. So I had to change things up a little bit, and I think the footage actually cuts off in this build after I finish Midge's room, just because the other rooms that I furnished weren't based off of any pictures, so I didn't really see a need to have to film everything because the video was already long. This video, I think, I had roughly 2 hours or maybe even 2.5 hours of footage, and that was just the stuff that I filmed. And so I was like, well, I don't need to film other stuff that's not even in the show anyway. Although maybe I should have filmed Abe's and Rose's room, but I decided not to. But that's okay. Like I said, I haven't actually seen the Strathmore building before, but I have seen the apartment that Carrie Bradshaw lives in Sex and the City. Just on accident, we ran into it. I was out with some of my friends and we were looking for a place to go, and we happened to be just in that area completely coincidentally, and I was looking at a map for something to do or somewhere to go, and the first thing that I saw was it said on the map Carrie Bradshaw's apartment. So I'm like, what? And I looked up and we were right in front of it, which was kind of hilarious. But it was interesting to me that with Carrie Bradshaw's apartment, all the other apartment buildings nearby, there's nothing there that would signify that this is a famous-ish area. But then right in front of quote-unquote Carrie Bradshaw's apartment, it was like a chain or a something in front of the door that you couldn't pass by, and it did say, no trespassing. And I think that's because a lot of people are stopping by and looking at this apartment, which I think would probably be super annoying, because it's important to remember that people actually do live in that space, and when people are constantly outside taking pictures of the space that you are living in, even if they're not like looking into your windows or anything, that can probably be super annoying. That being said, we did take a picture, but to make myself seem a little bit better, we did not stop and take a picture. We were already walking by, so as I was walking by, I did take a picture of it, but we did not stop and make a pose and try to look in the windows or anything. And there were people actually doing that. That's what brought me to the mindset of like, why are you doing that? That's ridiculous. People live there, but we did take a picture, but whatever. But long story short, I have not seen this building. I've been to the Upper West Side, but I have not seen this building before. But now I kind of want to look for it and see. But although I probably wouldn't recognize it, because they don't really show that many exterior shots of this building, so if I went by it, I probably couldn't tell which one it is. I'm getting to the end of the recording here. This is Midge's room. Very little early, actually. It's kind of strange that Midge would be okay living in this tiny room, but I mean, it seems to work for her, so I'm coming up on some screenshots in a couple seconds. So I will say, if you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a like, feel free to give me a comment, and subscribe if you are interested in seeing more. I do plan on finishing some of my other projects, like the Family Guy houses, as the weeks go through. But I do very much appreciate you stopping by and watching this video. And that's about it. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. And before I go, I almost forgot, if you do want to download this apartment, you can find it on my gallery at same username here. You can also find it at Mod The Sims as well. I can link that in the description, and you can find it there as well. So like I said, I appreciate you coming to my video and watching me build this apartment. I hope you have a wonderful day. Feel free to subscribe. Bye-bye.